Hi, I'm Sandy, registered dietitian with Flik Hospitality Group, and today we are talking about comfort foods. More importantly, those ones that you can curl up in the corner of your couch, watch a movie, eat that nice hearty stew or something that's really comforting to you, and we're actually going to change it up and do it all in the crock pot, right? Nothing better than you putting everything into a crock pot, coming home to a warm cooked meal, and what better to come home to than beef bourguignon? Yeah, that classic French stew that's so delicious, the red wine, all the vegetables and the beef in there. Nothing is more comforting to me than that. And we're actually going to be taking all of this goodness to the campground because that's right, I'm going camping this weekend. I don't want to be cooking all day and watching this. I'm gonna put it in the crock pot and then I'm gonna go hiking, I'm gonna go to wineries and breweries. So what I'm doing right now is I'm prepping everything and then we're gonna head off to the campground and we're gonna finish it there. So I've prepped my meat already. I actually am using beef brisket. I love to use brisket when I'm doing beef bourguignon, but you can use any sort of hard cut of meat that you're gonna have to cook for a long period of time. So you could use chuck, you could use round, any of that would be perfectly fine in this because you want it to stew. Any stew meat that's gonna take a long time to tenderize over time is what you're looking for. So I have about 4 pounds of my beef brisket. I have cubed it. I've trimmed some of the fat off of it. I don't want tons of fat in there. We do want some, right? Because that's the point of the brisket. And then I cubed it into bite-sized portions, Ziploc bag, good to go. I have cooked off bacon, 1 pound of bacon. So good, I know, it's all crispy and delicious. I put it into a Ziploc bag here as well. And I saved all that beautiful fat because we are actually going to be searing our beef off in that beautiful fat, right? We don't want to throw all those flavors away. I have my bottle of red wine. Yes, it takes a whole bottle of red wine. Delicious. And then I have some tomato paste, beef broth. I have my mushrooms. I also am doing pearl onions here. I have thyme and parsley. The last thing I'm going to do is prep my carrots. So I'm using about 8 carrots here, but think of carrots as one of those pieces of like pops of color in your stew. And you want to make sure though that whatever you're cutting, runaway carrot, is presentable in the stew because it's not going to change its shape when it cooks. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is presentable and you want the cuts to look nice. So I've cut the tops and bottoms off of these. I've peeled them, I've washed them, and now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to make them look a little bit nicer in this stew. And the mushrooms, I'm going to hold off on prepping the mushrooms because then they kind of oxidize a little bit. So for the carrot, all I'm going to do, I want some sorry, these carrots are just running away from me. I want some nice cuts, so I'm going to actually go on a bias here, and then I'm going to go back on the opposite side of the bias, and you can see that you get these cool little like angular carrot pieces. So that's what I'm going to do here, right? It just kind of changes it up a little bit. And then all I'm going to do with these, look at, aren't those a little fun? Those fun little bits here. I'm just going to put them, you guessed it, in a nice little plastic bag here. I usually use glass containers, but because I'm camping, I'm going to be using these because I don't want any mess to have to constantly clean up when I'm there. All right, now let's pack everything up in our nice bag here. So I'm going to put my wine, my stock, my tomato paste, and the tomato paste we're going to caramelize a little bit. That adds so much more flavor to your dish with the tomato paste. It's going to add that earthiness and that robustness, a little sweetness in there too. Can't forget my bacon fat. All right, and that, my friends, is it. How cool is that? So now we are off to the campground. I'm gonna grab this, my crock pot. I'll see you there. Hi, welcome back. We're at the campground now and we are going to finish our beef bourguignon. So exciting. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to sear off our brisket in the fat from the bacon that we did. Yes. So I'm going to add a little bit of the fat to the pan. All you're looking for is some browning here. And then we're gonna take it out of the pan and put everything in the crock pot. So this is the only thing that we're browning. Okay, so I've done the best I can with searing off my meat at the campground, and now I've put everything into my crock pot. I turned it on high just to start it so that way we can start mixing things in. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of flour. This is gonna be that thickening agent. You want it directly on the meat because you're gonna toss everything in there and then it will better dissolve into all the liquid. So 2 tablespoons of flour. I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of my tomato paste in here, and that's that robust flavor you're looking for, concentrated tomato. And that's that flavor that's gonna kind of build onto all the other spices that we're adding. So now I'm basically just going to toss all of the meat in here until everything's combined. And then we're gonna add in all of our veggies in a moment. So let me just toss this in here. So you can see from here how everything is starting to kind of come together a little bit. And it won't be clunky anymore. All right, so that looks good. I'm gonna give a couple grinds of my salt because you wanna make sure this is well seasoned. About a teaspoon of salt, and then you can always add more later when we're finishing it. And then I'm going to do my pepper, same thing, about a teaspoon of pepper in here. Perfect. And now I'm going to add in my mushrooms. So these are just regular button mushrooms. I'm using a whole pound of them. I just sliced them into chunks. I'm adding my carrots. Remember, we chopped those carrots before. Goes right into my pot here. Then I'm doing thyme. So thyme's beautiful. I love the scent of thyme. We're actually going to add the whole sprigs, and you're going to take these out before we serve it. So we're going to add about a bunch of sprigs into here. And then I'm going to add my cipollini onions. If you can't find cipollini onions, you can just use regular onions. These are the nice round cipollinis. I'm cheating. I'm doing frozen because I don't feel like taking all of the pieces off of it. Now, this is the best. A whole bottle of wine. Don't judge, but this is beef bourguignon after all. So a whole bottle of wine in here. Beautiful. Whole bottle of wine. And then you're gonna cover it. All we're looking for is for the chicken stock to basically cover, not chicken, sorry, beef stock to actually cover the whole thing. You don't have to use beef, you can use chicken, you can use vegetable, whatever you have. But essentially we're just covering it just enough so the majority of it's covered. And then we're just gonna use all this. And that's it. So then I'm putting this on low. I'm gonna cook this for 8 hours, and then we're gonna eat it that way. If you wanna cook it on high and cut the time in half, you can do that as well. We're just doing low and slow because we're going to some vineyards, we're going to some breweries, and we're going hiking. And that is it. We'll catch you on the flip side once this is done, but hopefully you enjoyed our slow cooker beef bourguignon. See you later. Hi, me again. So we finished the beef bourguignon, and I wanted to show you before I go out to the campfire, but we're gonna be eating the beef bourguignon over mashed potatoes with some parsley and that crumbled bacon. Remember, we cooked that bacon before, and now we're gonna eat it with some red wine by the campfire. So exciting. You have to try this dish. Check it out. Look amazing, right? You know you want it. So be sure to follow our YouTube channel and hit subscribe for other recipes like this. Bye.